All right, so we are continuing to modernize a Craft 3 website, and we've already Dockerized it. Excuse me. We've already Dockerized it. We have already switched it over to using a base templating setup, and we have already started to get the JavaScript pulled out from just being links to CDNs and inline script tags to a Webpack 5 build system. So we're going to continue that today, and I realized at the end of the last stream I was being a little dumb. So I think I figured out what I was doing wrong and why something wasn't working. But let's get up and going. So the way to get started on all of this stuff is just go to our terminal window, Docker compose up, and this is going to bring our whole project up in our little Docker containers. And while that is starting up, I'll give just a quick synopsis of what we're doing. So this is a website that a friend of mine did for a friend of his. Yes, I know, friend-to-friend projects are always fantastic. And I helped out a little bit a long time ago. And somehow the building info got out of date on the VPS that was hosting it, and they ended up nuking the VPS. So thankfully I had a copy of it here locally and was able to resurrect it because we had the code in Bitbucket, but I don't think anyone had the database. So, I mean, you know, it could have been reconstructed, but it would have been a lot of work. So it's nice that I can just get going on it like this. So here we are. And I'm going to show you what I was working on yesterday. So basically, and so when this starts up, it's doing an npm install and it's doing a composer install. And this adds about 30 seconds to the startup time for all this, but I personally think it's worth it. I know that no matter what computer I'm on, no matter who is working on it, that we both have the same versions of our dependencies installed, because they'll install it from their lock file when this thing spins up, and it's just a nice way to make sure that everything's in sync, you know? So what I was doing last time, let's go into our source code, and this is all done and started up. So now we should have our website up and running. Oh, that's the back end. Yeah, so there we go. And we know we're on a modern converted over page because we've got our nice little confetti. That's a little view component that is being built by Webpack and inserted into the page. Okay. So what we were looking at doing was modernizing the JavaScript, and we can get rid of this now, we can get rid of that now. And so what I had done was I had taken JavaScript that was inline JavaScript, tore it out of the page, and just put it into our app.ts. So this is just for anyone who's not familiar with TypeScript, TypeScript is just JavaScript with types. So if you remove the type hinting that you put in when you're building TypeScript, you have just JavaScript. That's all it is. It's not another language. It's just kind of a way to annotate your JavaScript with types so that your editor can catch errors before you do. And as we see here, there's a whole bunch of errors that it's already picking out, right? Or syntactical things, you know. So it's pointing out this could be null, and all of these things should be fixed. I'm just going to focus on getting it working, and then we can go in and work at making this stuff happy. Actually, we can do some of it now. So instead of var, I want you to let. All right, so that will clean that up real quick. And then it's basically saying this could be null, that could be null. This is all true. So we should probably do something like this. All right. Do our conditionals here. Arguable though. I mean, so here's the thing. Yes, this could cause an error if this thing doesn't exist. But then how are we ever going to see the error, you know? You know what? I'm going to go back to what I was saying before, and I'm just going to let these errors throw. Because this way, at least there'll be an error that's thrown in the console. Yes, we could do our own logging and that kind of stuff, but I think it's reasonable to have it work like this. Because, like, if the open nav button isn't on the page, like, you know, it should break. It really should break. But anyway, I had taken this inline JavaScript, put it in here, and then I had removed the script tags that load the masonry in. So what I want to do, oh, it's not. Okay, that's fine. So these are the three things. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to import these packages that we're using. Masonry from masonry layout. And then I figured out what I was doing wrong. So when you're doing it in sort of the old school way where you just load in a JavaScript package, it automatically loads and then it adds itself to the global window variable and everything's wonderful. Well, we're building everything with a Webpack build system. So the code that we have is actually wrapped in what's called an IFI, and long story, but it's converted into a ESM, an ECMAScript module. And so we just need to do things a little bit different. So when all else fails, I found looking at the documentation can sometimes help. So let's take a look. All right. So that should be pretty readable. This is the Masonry Docs. And look at this. If you're using it with Webpack, this is what you should do. Yeah, it should be fine the way we're doing it. And then we can do, so there are one or two ways that they can do it. They say you can just create a new masonry object and give it, you know, your stuff that you want it to do there. Or if you're using it as a jQuery plugin, there's this jQuery Bridget thing, which, man, it has been so long since I've done anything with jQuery or jQuery plugins that, I don't know. Let's look at the code and let's see what it's actually doing and see what we should be doing. All right. Yeah, and it's recommending require, which is the common JS way of doing this. We should be able to use imports as we're doing here, but we will figure it out when we go along. It depends on how this object is exported, which honestly I just don't know. So we'll figure it out. All right, so here's where we use masonry. Okay, so it looks like it is using it as a jQuery plugin, but it doesn't look like we have to. Like, I don't see any reason why we have to do that. Yeah, and we'll deal with this slick lightbox stuff afterwards. This looks like it's expecting it to be there. So we're probably gonna have to do something similar for that. But yeah, here. So this is where we're making this $ grid and we're grabbing this stuff. And I think what we need to do instead is essentially this. Right, so it's very similar, but we're gonna get this thing back. I guess we'll just call it the same thing, just so we can see if it actually works. But let's try that. Worst case, I mean, it looks like they're using Lightbox in a way that I think is a jQuery plugin. That being the case, we might need to be installing this Bridget thing anyway and using it this way. I don't know though. I mean, there's so little JavaScript code, like there's not a ton here. It's probably not going to be the end of the world if we have to rewrite a little bit of this to make it nicer. Any questions? Feel free. Yeah. Yep, so if anyone's watching and they've got any questions while I'm going along doing this, feel free. This is just, again, a pro bono project that I'm trying to make it more modern because I have the feeling I'm going to be the one that will do maintenance on it every now and again. So I want to make it nice and easy and fun for me to work with when I go in there. All right, so instead of what they're doing, let's do something like let, and just for simplicity's sake, I mean, I guess we'll just leave it as $grid. There's nothing magical about that $sign that's in there. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of it. There's nothing magical about it. It's just some people use that as a convention to indicate stuff that they got back from jQuery. Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay. Oh. So we shouldn't even need that at all. Yeah. All right. So I think we should do something like this. I'm just going to rewrite it from scratch. Let grid equals masonry. And we're going to pass in the selector. This is where the stuff should be coming from. Like what area of the DOM to convert over. And then here we've got some options that we're passing in. Oop, did I do that wrong? Yep. And then we'll just use his options, which I believe this is. And this can go away. And then after it's lazy loaded, then we just would want to do this. I think that's going to do it. Let's see where else grid is used. Yeah, that's just the lightbox stuff. All right. So we made our changes. It rebuilt our stuff. We're doing our HMR. Let's take a look at what errors we have. Yeah, okay, so that's fine. Like that's expected. We know the lightbox stuff isn't working yet because that loads as a jQuery plugin. And but I think the masonry stuff is working now. Yeah, it looks like it is. That's the weird little slidey thing it does when, yeah. Okay. So that's not so bad. Not so bad. All right, so now the next thing we got to do is we click on this. This is supposed to be a slick lightbox that's supposed to come up. So we need to fix that to make it work again. So rather than, all right, let's take a look at what he's got here. I see. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the documentation for this slick lightbox thing that he's using. And we're not married to necessarily using slick or the slick lightbox, but if there's an easy way to use it, we might as well just use it. Yeah. See, this is going to be a jQuery plugin, I think. Let's take a look at the usage stuff. Yeah, so anything that has like $ blah blah and then dot some random new function that was added, that's going to be a jQuery plugin. So I have the feeling, oh man. I have the feeling that we're probably going to need to do basically this, which is what they were saying to do for masonry. So jQuery Bridget, and then just use this. There probably are other ways that we could do it, but it seems like this is probably going to be the path of least resistance. Yeah, so it's make it a masonry jQuery plugin. Yeah. So it looks like this is the name of the package. Man, I wonder how it does that. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I guess let's look up jQuery Bridget and let's see what that does. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is going to be the object. And then this is going to be how it hangs off of the, okay, how it hangs off the window. Okay, all right. So that all makes sense. I guess it's going to be the easiest way to do it then. Yeah. All right. That's what we're going to do then. Let's go to our package.json. And we've got this new jQuery Bridget thing that we need. I don't know what the package name of this is going to be. Let's take a look. npm JS query. There we go. Yeah, that was going to be my guess. It should be autocompleting. Yeah, I was wondering why it wasn't autocompleting. All right. Perfect. All right, so we need that. And then we're going to need to, since we made changes to this container, oh, shouldn't move. What I'm doing is I'm downing the containers. And I'm removing the build chain, package lock.json. There actually is an easier way to do this. I could have just restarted the container, but whatever. All right. So then we're going to need to do something like this. Import query Bridget from I can spell. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. And what is it complaining about? I see. Okay. This is a TypeScript thing. It wants to know about any modules that we're using. If there are no type definitions available, this is kind of just a shortcut for it's fine, ignore it, use it. Our app. Now that's happy again. So we're importing this. Whenever this is up and running anyway, we're going to be importing this. And then our actual usage to get this thing up and running is we're going to need to do, all right. I'm not sure where in my code I want to do this. I feel like it's something I want to do just, it almost feels like an import. Let's just do it here. So we'll do query Bridget. And this is going to be what is it referred to? Need to import our slick lightbox. Oh, there you go. And we also want slick. right, so this is the thing we want to import, and this is what we're going to select lightbox, and then we can pass in the script variable. Now, in theory, that does it. But let's find out. All right, here's our page. We got to view our developer tools. All right. Can't read property option of undefined. Does not like something we're doing. So it looks like whatever we're passing in for our plugin class, it's not happy with that. Okay. That's our plugin class. I'm gonna try something quick. It may be just the format of this package. It may be an old CommonJS. So named imports might not be working as expected. There still should be a way to be able to do it via import, but I just want to test this real quick. See if anything changes. Still cannot. Interesting. It's a different error, though. That's interesting. What is it timing out on? Wait a minute. Well, it's not a very helpful. It's not very helpful at all. Oh, okay. Let's try that thing. All right, so what I want to do, so first of all, I'm just going to console log this thing just to see what this import is. To see what the thing is that it's returning back from the import. This is an optional, it should be globally available via the provides plugin, but all right, let's see what we got here. This is what the import is. It's an object. Yeah, it's a constructor. Ah, joy. So what it's saying is that there is no prototype hanging off of this plugin class. And actually, I want to see the difference in how this thing imports. All right, so let's see if what we're logging is a different object when we require it this way. No, it looks exactly the same. So maybe I'm wrong. Could I be wrong? Is Slick Lightbox not? I don't see how it could not be, though. Let's see. All right. I mean, it says it's a plugin here. It doesn't explicitly state it anywhere else. Ah, joy. Oh, good. Good. I'm glad it's written in CoffeeScript. That's awesome. God. Help me. Yeah, this is totally designed to work as a jQuery plugin. What am I doing wrong with Bridget then? If that's the case. Because that's exactly what I would want to be using this thing for, right? So here is an example of using it with Masonry. This is exactly what we're doing. Yeah. Literally what we're doing. Well, let's see if we can get any information from jQuery Bridget. Yeah, so this is our constructor that we're passing in. Is it just complaining because there's no options array passed in? Could it be that simple? No, but we are, right? We're doing it right here. Hmm. So I am curious now. We are going to do a block comment of this thing. Whoops. What? Expression expected. Yeah, no. Statement expected. So here's this function. Oh, did we not go far enough? There we go. Okay. So basically, I just want to see if this thing is initializing properly. Or if it's still complaining. Yeah, it's complaining just where we're trying to do this thing. Yeah, namespace, plugin class. Yeah. All right. Now that we know this isn't an issue, we can just go back to that. jQuery should be globally available via our provides plugin. I'm going to take a look at what's going on here. Okay, so this thing has no prototype. Is this not? Oh, do we have to make one? Do we have to new it? I think we have to new it. I think that's what it is. Okay. All right, let's try that. Because I think it wants the actual class passed in. Aha. We need the default. Oh, because it's going to be the default import. Okay. I think I was being stupid. We need to do something like this, I think. I forget the syntax. It's this? Always forget. Yeah. No, I had it right. Oh, I see. No, that's in a wait though. Okay. So yeah. Okay. I know what I'm doing. So we need to do something like this. Go back to. All right, so what this is going to do is this is going to take the default export from this and stuff it into this. And need to do that. I want to say. Yeah, that's not. All right, so the issue is this thing that it's loading in is just an object, and we want it to be a class. Complaining about now? Oh, because we're making a new one. What I want to see. All right, I want to see what this thing is. For whatever reason, this thing that we're getting back is nothing like what we want it to be. And I am very unfamiliar. All right. Oh, good. Fantastic. Yeah, this is not a class. This is just a function. Although, yeah, JavaScript classes being what they are. Hmm. Well, I don't know. And if we don't use the Bridget stuff, yeah, the slick is not a function. All right, so let's see. You know what? Maybe the core of this problem might be. What I'm wondering is, I'm wondering whether the issue is that Slick isn't available. Let's at least get that solved. Nice. All right, so it looks like Slick is a jQuery plugin too. Let's see if we get a similar error on. Oh, we don't. That's interesting. So maybe Slick is the one that's a jQuery plugin, and the other wrapper thing is just whatever it is. Okay. Invalid document? Jesus Christ. Man, you gotta love code like this. If doc.nodetype's not equal 9, I don't even know what the hell the node type is. Let's see. What is our magic number 9? Okay, so what is 9? Oh, here we go. Document. Okay. Wow, I wonder where it is coming from here. Huh. Slick is searching for something. So it's initializing Slick. Anywhere in our code do we do that? Do we do anything else with Slick? No. I'll tell you what. All right, so I think it's still going to error here because I don't think this is actually a jQuery plugin. I think this is a wrapper for Slick itself. But I'm just curious. I want to see if all this stuff is added as expected. So basically what I want to do is I want to see if these methods have been added. Which console log are we looking at, though? Oh, that halted the execution of it. All right, so we can't do that. Okay. Yep, jQuery function. It's got all our stuff. Unslick lightbox? Okay. Awesome. Hmm. Yeah, it's just gonna. Ah, boy. The joys of making old code work. Ah. All right, so I think I'm going to try a little bit more to hammer this into shape, but at some point, it's going to make sense to just find a different light box and just use a different light box to pop this thing up. You know, use something a little bit more modern that we wouldn't have these kind of issues with. I kind of didn't want to because I wanted to just be able to get this up and running. But it's not happy. It's not happy. We've got Slick installed as a jQuery plugin. We shouldn't need this. It should just infer it. Now, just to verify, I don't know what options Slick actually expects. But I'm just curious. Okay, so that just causes it to immediately die. Okay. This should be iterating through each of the objects that we've passed in there. And there should only be one. This is for the... I wonder if it's even getting here. Oh. Stick here somewhere. Oh. All right. So it doesn't even get there. So it's dying somewhere inside of the Slick Lightbox code. Which is being called from our wonderful jQuery Bridget, which is being called... Oh, man. Oh, yeah, so we're instantiating Slick as a plugin here. Only other thing I want to look up real quick. I just love the fact that this is in CoffeeScript. It's like the last thing that I'm interested in the world. Yep. You know what? I mean, I'm looking at this stuff and it's like 4 years old and it hasn't been maintained, so I'm thinking maybe I will just use a more modern lightbox. And then the question is, what will we use? This is the lightest lightbox ever made, huh? I mean, okay, that looks nice. So this is where it could be problematic, though. We want the HTML to be generated from the CMS, and this wants the HTML to be passed into the instance here. Well, I guess we could just use... Yeah, no, we should just use that. I'm being stupid. We could definitely use that. Yeah, so we would do something like this. We would do it from a template. I didn't want to do this because this is going to require rewriting some of the HTML that they already have. And there's no carousel in it, too. Okay, so that's actually a problem. All right. All right. Did not get a whole lot done on this stream, but unfortunately, I gotta call it quits for now. So where we're left is that so far, I got the masonry stuff loading, so that's all good. At least we've got... Oh, no. Don't tell me that's screwed up, too. No, okay. Yeah, okay. The masonry stuff is loading and working. The issue is that the slick lightbox that this thing uses is not loading and working inside of our Webpack build. And we're doing what should need to be done in terms of we're importing Slick, and then we're making it a jQuery plugin so that it's available. Don't know if we need to do that before. I can't imagine. It wouldn't make any sense, but it's possible. I don't love doing stuff like this. Keep all my imports where they should be. Okay. interesting. Wait, what? Okay, so now this is a totally different error than we were seeing before. I mean, I guess the part that I'm confused about is I think that Slick Lightbox is also a plugin. So I feel that we should need to do this, but it errors whenever it's trying to load this thing in. It's basically saying, so whatever we're importing here is totally not what we need it to be. So if we take a look at we log this import, this, yeah. What? That doesn't even make sense. All right, so let's not try to do this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so in the first case, we get back a factory, which is what I would expect at our constructor. And in the second case, we get back an actual object. So that's what the issue is here. It's what this thing is exporting is not what it's not what we want it to be. Because it's an object, and we really want maybe we need to do that. Does it need to actually get the actual constructor passed in? Well, it's not erroring, but it's also not doing what it's supposed to do. Okay. Let's take a look here. Nope, that's not going to work. All right. If these were initialized properly, I would be expecting to see because it doesn't even seem to be handling the click. Like I feel like these jQuery plugins are just not installed properly. This is a new. It's not even scarfing. Let's just see real quick. I don't see anything logged. Yeah, what this should be doing is it should be turning anything of the class slick item, or sorry, of the ID slick item. I wonder why there's only one ID. That's right. I remember them mentioning something that has to implement an underscore init function. I wonder if there's a way we can just call this thing directly. Maybe we should just look into doing that. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking at the source code for the slick lightbox stuff. Unfortunately, it's in CoffeeScript, so yeah, who knows? All right, so let's try something like. Instead of doing this, try something like. And then we're going to pass in that. And then we got our options here. And all right. And we should be able to just do. Yeah, do this. All right, so we'll do like this, and then we do like this. All right, let's see what we get now. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's not replacing the click handlers as I would expect it would. Weird. All right, unfortunately, I can't go any further. I'm going to have a little think about whether it makes sense to try to fix this thing or just to find another lightbox and be done with it. But it needs to be a lightbox carousel. So it needs to be a modern lightbox carousel. Let's see what the landscape looks like. Yeah, of course, Slick Lightbox comes up in one of them. That's fantastic. All right, so simple lightbox. Let's see what this one looks like. No dependencies, yay. 3K, yay. Oh, this actually looks pretty good. All right. Well, this actually looks pretty good. I wonder if it will let me... Hmm. Yeah, I think this is probably going to be the way forward. I think the way forward is probably just going to be to screw Slick and all this jQuery plugin nonsense that we're trying to get working and just use something more modern like simple lightbox. I think that's the way to go. And I actually might be back later on today to do that. I unfortunately have a couple of things that I got to do. And away we go.